Hare Krishna, thank you very much for joining. It gives me great happiness to serve you again today evening, and for some of you it's morning, I know, early morning. Very grateful to you for joining. And today I want to share with you a very important topic which is very dear to my heart, how the mind cheats us. And I want to give a disclaimer because there are 3-4 examples I want to give them. They may appear a little strong, but I'm coming from a space of extreme gratitude to Srila Prabhupada for giving us Krishna consciousness. And we want to honor Srila Prabhupada by attempting to preserve his legacy. Therefore, some examples may be strong, but the intention is to do some honest self-introspection. It is not to criticize anyone. So with this disclaimer, I want to start. So the topic today is a little subtle. We want to discuss how the mind cheats us. Or basically, this is called in the secular world as self-deception. How we cheat ourselves. We don't need others to cheat us. So as devotees, our growth in bhakti is blocked by self-deception. Means the mind plays cheating games. The most dangerous enemy in our spiritual life is not outside, it's the mind that cheats us, because we justify our arrogance, we justify our purity, and the mind doesn't cheat us by shouting at us. It defeats us by whispering that you are right, Prabhu, you are right, you are good, and we believe it. And this happens in social dealings. See, Krishna, what does Krishna want? Krishna wants our hearts, but our mind gives excuses to Krishna. So there is inner cheating happening all the time. So how do we stop this? So that's what we will discuss today. It's very easy to see others' faults. I think it just takes a moment. Now it's very hard and also more urgent to see our own faults, because there is a subtle pride that blinds us to Krishna's mercy. Like in Hindi they have a saying, गलती दूसरों में देखने के लिए बेजा लगता है और अपने अंदर गलती देखने के लिए कलेजा लगता है. You need a strong heart. You need to have that humility. So I want to begin with a story which convinced me how we can be wrong. I can be wrong, but when I have this self-deception as a operating system, then I not only make a mistake. See, mistake is okay, but then it turns into arrogance. Mistake, we can be honest about our mistakes and improve. But when we allow the mind to cheat us, that mistake becomes arrogance. So I'm going to share one example of how when my good intentions went terribly wrong. It's a very painful lesson, but it's very important, and it may be instructive to all of you also. So during the initial years of my preaching, I and a few other brahmacharis, we made an innocent but a devastating mistake. So I want all of your ears, because I'm sure something like this you may have also done in your own life. So listen to this, especially you will be doing this as a devotee, because we hear how this is right, this is wrong, and we sometimes start thinking that what I'm doing is right. So in that space, I'm sharing this example. I've never shared this before. So this example also, one more thing, it shows the dangers of spiritual arrogance. Not arrogance cannot be spiritual, but arrogance in a spiritual setup. So what happened? One of our brahmacharis, one of the devotees in our congregation, he was dying. He was leaving his body because of a deadly disease. Now, it was a prolonged illness. And we were desperate. Few of us were desperate that he should remember Krishna during his final moments. So he was lying bedridden. So what we did, we took turns to reading Bhagavatam, hoping that we will keep his consciousness fixed on Krishna's lotus feet. So our intentions was pure. I admit, our intention was good. But our execution was catastrophic, disastrous. What we did? We just kept him awake, because we thought that if he goes to sleep, he may die in sleep, because that was his last stage. And we thought he should die hearing the holy names of Krishna. Then he can go back home back to Godhead. So our desperation to give him Krishna was so intense that it came to such an extent that I'm laughing now, but it was actually painful. He was tired and he wanted to sleep. But we were discussing, no, it's not good. What if he dies while sleeping? This is not good. You should hear Hare Krishna, you should hear Bhagavatam. So we kept reading, we kept chanting. And but he was wishing to sleep. Because we thought, he may say whatever, but doctors have said 48 hours maximum. So what happened? At night also we didn't allow him to sleep. And the worst thing we did was we stopped his, the medicine the doctor was giving for him to sleep well. We stopped that medicine of sleep. Assuming that if he died in his sleep, that would not be good for him. So 2 nights passed, no rest, and constant spiritual bombardment. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Bhagavatam ki jai, those kind of things. He has to go back home, back to Godhead. So our friend who was dying, he became cranky. He started speaking recklessly. He started expressing material desires. So now this was a classic moment for us to do some soul searching. Are we doing something wrong? Now what we did, now this is where I'm talking about self-deception. Instead of recognizing our role in his behavior, in his distress, we doubled down on our righteousness. We are right. And we started making lofty conclusions. See, can you see? We started telling each other how dangerous material energy is. He's talking about going back to sense gratification. Oh, we must continue to chant to save him from Maya. So we started seeing his expression, his cranky behavior as a sign that material energy is very strong. So we started reading Bhagavatam more. And we started judging him? We started doing a few things amongst ourselves. Kya, Prabhu, I think he's a little weak now because death, time of death, we all become weak. So he's becoming weak. Yeah. And Prabhu, Maya is very strong. We started telling each other. Maya is very cruel and unforgiving. And I think we are being very, and we didn't say that, but subconsciously we were thinking we are so nice. We are so compassionate because we are helping him remember Krishna. Isn't it? We are good people. I'm nice. I'm helping him remember Krishna. So at this point, the doctor realized that something was going wrong. And he asked a few of us, and when he realized that we hadn't given him sleeping pills, the doctor was livid. He just blasted, he chastised us. And immediately continued, the doctor gave him a pill, and then, he rested for 12 hours. And he could have died in those 12 hours. But he rested for 12 hours, and when he woke up after 12 hours, something interesting. He's still in his last phase. He's gasping for breath. All of that is happening. But when he woke up and he was conscious, what he was doing? He was in his most gracious manners. He was like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And he was expressing how he's grateful and he wanted to go back home, back to Godhead with all of our blessings. And he was saying, I was going that time to London. That was the second time I was leaving for London. So he told me, please convey my Dandavat Pranam to all the wonderful Vaishnavas at Bhaktivedanta Manor, London. This is how his mood was. So then, very devotionally he was speaking. He was expressing profuse gratitude. And that's when we looked at each other, some of us, and we realized that all the reckless speech that he was doing, that was not because he was in Maya. Why was he doing that? Any answers? Why do you think he was doing that reckless speech? Simple. We hadn't given him proper rest. That's it. It was sleep deprivation. No sleep. So we were making a serious mistake thinking that we are heroic. We are compassionate. We are helping him. Our intention was good, but our intention was going terribly wrong. our my Guru Maharaj always says that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It begins with good intentions, but we need corrections, we need feedback, we need humility. So this is a classic disaster. So there are two things here. One is we made a mistake. And then when there was a consequence of our mistake, look at the way the mind cheats us. First, we made a mistake. Now we are getting a consequence of that mistake. And that's when the mind cheats us double. By saying, you knew this? See, this is what is happening. This is the way the mind cheats us. Therefore, and then what happens? And if somebody tells us this is the mistake you made, immediately, if the doctor told us, I remember with 3 or 4 of us, when the doctor said, how can you do this? Immediately, I remember becoming defensive. But Prabhu, our intention was to help him. He said, to hell with your intention. He shouted at me. Because, see, there's a very nice statement. We judge ourselves by our intentions. Whenever we do anything wrong and somebody points out, we say, my intention was good. Other people, we judge them by not their intention, by their action. See, he did this wrong. He did this wrong. How can he do this? How can he do that? Ideally, we should judge ourselves by our action. And we should look for their intention. The other people, we should look for their intention. But we do ulta. We judge ourselves by our intention and others by action. Ideally, we should judge others by their intention. We should give them the benefit of doubt. But this is the way our mind cheats us. This is a classic. So why I'm sharing this incident? I know this incident is a little strong. It's about a person dying. Of course, he left this world, remembering Krishna's glories, expressing gratitude, and it was a beautiful journey. But the point I'm saying is, this is a classic pattern in religious communities, and where we make a mistake in our approach, and then we lack the honesty for self-appraisal. Instead, what do? We make a holier than thou declaration. Everyone else is wrong. And I am a savior of humanity. I am a Hare Krishna devotee. So the mind becomes an expert lawyer. So the mind convinces us, see, I am right. Even when we are wrong, we are convinced we are right. Unless we catch the mind's tricks, we will end up deceiving ourselves in the name of bhakti. Okay, I'll repeat this sentence. We will end up cheating ourselves in the name of bhakti. Okay, I'll give another example. Once a preacher told me, I wish this was offline. I wanted to hear from all of you this statement. So what happened? There was some bad propaganda about ISKCON in the media. So I told him, I'm feeling very sad. Prabhupada would be very sad to hear this bad propaganda in the media about our ISKCON. So you know what this preacher told me? Very interesting. He said, Prabhu, I don't mind if ISKCON becomes unpopular. I said, what? You don't love Prabhupada? He said, of course I love Prabhupada. But I don't mind ISKCON becoming unpopular because Srila Prabhupada said. Now, look at this. He's quoting Srila Prabhupada. He said, Srila Prabhupada said, if everybody is liking us, that means we are doing something wrong. And then he said, the fact that people don't like us means we are doing something good. Did you get this? This is a quote of Srila Prabhupada. Definitely Prabhupada said this. But now, there is a catch here. So when I heard these words from him, my heart sank. Not because I wanted to criticize him. He's a great devotee, he's a sincere devotee. But I recognized a dangerous pattern in my own thinking, which many of us, including myself, we have fallen into. See, what is the mindset, in many religious communities? That we believe that criticism validates righteousness. I am righteous, I am good. And if somebody is criticizing me, that means I am really good. This could be pure arrogance masquerading as devotion. Like, for example, see, when we mess up, let's say we mess up big time. What are we supposed to do? When we mess up, we are supposed to correct ourselves, right? But many times we justify our mistakes by wrongly quoting scriptures, sacred teachings, Srila Prabhupada. Please understand, I'm not questioning anyone. I'm not questioning the preachers here. I'm not questioning the devotion. I'm just saying that through my own painful experience, what I have learned is good intentions can lead us astray. When we make mistakes, we are supposed to do course correction. But when we unconsciously justify them, then we selectively quote our beloved Srila Prabhupada, then that becomes disastrous. Why is this quote very dangerous? Because what does Srila Prabhupada want? Srila Prabhupada wanted intelligent, cultured, sensitive, educated people to come to Krishna consciousness. Is it not? All of us know this. There are so many examples, so many places where Srila Prabhupada says that we want all these people to come. So that means Srila Prabhupada wanted us to present Krishna consciousness sensitively. He wanted us to be kind to the world. He did not want us to use his teachings as a weapon against those who question my method. If somebody questions my method, I immediately become defensive. That is not what Prabhupada wanted us to do. So we have a twisted logic where we create an impenetrable shield. Okay, don't attack me. I will not do self-reflection. See, every failure that I go through, I transform it into a badge of honor. This is disastrous. Okay, I did something good and now they are failing. See how much he is in Maya. He couldn't accept Krishna consciousness, but we don't realize he didn't accept Krishna consciousness because I did not present it properly. I was not a good instrument. We see every member who leaves Krishna. I don't know if you know this. Many devotees come to the movement and they leave also, many of them. I'm sure you know many people who come for some time and they leave. They chant for some time. So when people leave, I've seen that many of us see that as a proof of Hare Krishna's spiritual superiority. We say, oh, Srila Prabhupada said, don't be surprised by how many people leave, but how many stayed back. You know the triangle example? In a triangle, in the base, there are a lot of people. On the top of the triangle, there are very few people. So we immediately give this example saying that, see, it's very easy to come to Krishna consciousness, but it's very difficult. This is a common example. I've used it hundreds of times. And I'm sure many of you also must have heard this. And this is true. Prabhupada is right. Krishna consciousness, a lot of people will leave. But we are preachers, right? We are supposed to preach. Everybody is a preacher. You're a grahastha, many of you. You're also responsible for sharing Krishna. So we have to take responsibility. See, our mind may be cheating us by reminding us this quote of Prabhupada. Because we can't absolve ourselves of the responsibility of painful self-reflection, some critical thinking, honesty. Okay, I'll give another example. Father saw that his son likes football. Now the father wanted his son to chant more. Chant more. But Papa, I want to play football. No, you should chant. Krishna consciousness is real. Everything else is Maya. Chant. But the son likes football. So what happened now? This is a young son, maybe 10, 11-year-old. So this is a very interesting situation. Father dismisses football. He pushes the child for more Hare Krishna. And the child starts feeling misunderstood. So he starts gravitating towards his friends in school who share his passion of football. Then one day, he finds some friends who are interested in football in school. So he starts associating with them more. And then what happens? Then one day, one of these friends gives him drugs. And after some time, his father comes to know that my child is into drugs. So now it's time for the father to do introspection. Did I do something wrong in my parenting? No. But the father says, see, Prabhupada was right. Krishna consciousness is the only solution. And bad association has spoiled my child. Well, the bad association started with you, Prabhu. You didn't give the right association to your child, but you don't want to accept it. So now, so the father is now, instead of doing self-introspection, he's pushing his child further away from Krishna and is actually offending his child. Because his child wanted love, his child wanted to be understood. So when people leave Krishna consciousness, I'm giving very gross examples, strong examples, but the point I'm making is when people leave Krishna consciousness, we see, first of all, we do strong preaching, and then people get jarred, and then they leave. And then we justify and declare that our judgment was indeed right. They were not devotees at all, they left. So we judge others harshly, because I've seen people now, when they leave Krishna consciousness, they leave very respectfully. They withdraw very graciously. They quietly stop coming. And but then we feel vindicated. So this is very, very sad. Now, my simple request is, if you are a preacher, if you are sharing Krishna with your family, with your neighbors, let us meet people where they are. Not expect them to already be where we are, or where actually we are also not there. See, ideal standard is this: we are, let's say, here, and new people are somewhere here. We want them to be here or here. No, we want them. We have to come down. We have to connect with them. So when this sensitivity is not there, then we blame. We often blame those very people whom we want to be devotees, and we alienate them. So this is a very, very fundamental misunderstanding in spiritual guidance. So we need to learn that we can make mistakes. So I want to go a little deeper on this, if we have some time. This is, many years ago, I had attended a seminar by Arbinger Institute on how leaders can get into self-deception. So I'm sharing some of the things I learned that time, that how all of us, we live in a box. Just picture this, visualize this. There is a box we are all carrying, and we enter into this box. So what is this box? When do we enter into a box? When I look at other human beings as objects. The moment I see you as an object or as something which will help me get what my needs. See, I have some needs, I have some desires, and everybody else is an object. Everybody else is a thing that I can use to get what I want. If they can help me fulfill my desires, then I interact with them. If they don't help me, I don't care. So basically, if my mentality is that my needs, my interests as value, and others' needs and interests have no value. If I don't see other human beings as persons like myself, I see myself as a person. But when I don't see others as persons, then I have entered into a box. So many of us live in that box. We are carrying that box, we keep entering the box, we live in that box. Like, I'll give an example. So I'm standing, yesterday, I boarded a train. Okay, simple. I boarded a train in Mathura to come to Mumbai. So as soon as I got my seat, the first thought, this is spontaneously, because I'm in a box. I'm sure you also would relate to this. So first thought that came was, people were coming in. Immediately I was hoping, I hope nobody comes here. I hope this seat is empty, the one next to me, so that I can get space. I can stretch my legs. I don't want anybody to come on this seat. I know this is natural. I'm not judging. See, you don't have to be harsh on yourself. But I'm saying that how spontaneously we consider our needs. I have needs. I have desires. I'm important. Like, for example, once, like you're standing in a line to board the plane, and there's a line, and there's a lady in front of you with 3 children. She's struggling with 3 children. And you're like, oh, I'm getting late because of her. Because she's an object. I'm a person. I have needs. And she's an obstacle. Because of her, I'm getting late. And then another man who is behind me, he comes forward and he helps her. And he does something. And then she is comfortable. So what has happened? I was in the box and this man was not in the box. He could see that she also has some needs. She also is struggling with something. So when I'm in a box, and let's say you're also in a box, you think of yourself only, I think of myself only. And then we have social interactions. Then our interactions are very shallow, very superficial. And that's when we start betraying our values. We start cheating ourselves. The mind starts cheating us. And that's what is called as self-deception, cheating ourselves. So there is a mechanism of how it occurs. It begins with entering into a box. It begins with entering that I am important, my needs are important, my desires are important, and our inability, insensitivity to see other people also as humans is when we enter the box, and that's when mind cheating game starts, and we start betraying our values. And then, because when we betray our values, what happens? I'll tell you something. If you betray your value, let's say deep within there is something which is very valuable to you. You know what happens when you betray? You become uncomfortable. So when you become uncomfortable, you know what we will do? We will start justifying it. That's how the mind cheats us. The mind starts justifying. And then what we do? Another thing the mind does. Mind exaggerates our good qualities and starts inflating their other person's bad qualities. And then the tension between us gets worse. I'll give a classic example. A man and a woman, husband and wife, they have a newborn child, okay? Now the child is crying in the middle of the night. So the child is crying. So the husband wakes up. The father wakes up. He hears the child crying. And instinctively he knows his value is to go and attend to the child. The baby is crying and the father has woken up. He knows that he should go and care for the child. But what he does, he ignores. Now, when he ignores it, he has betrayed his value. And then, what is the value? The value of service, the value of caring. And now see how the mind cheats. He starts exaggerating his qualities. I work so hard the whole day. I deserve my rest. And then the mind also starts inflating his wife's faults. Look at her. She's so selfish. She's whole day at home. She can't take care of the child. I need rest. She's very careless. Now, this is how it happens subtly. I am right. She is wrong. And we start justifying my not caring for the child. Now, next morning, when the husband and the father and mother are interacting, he will interact with her coldly because he's got affected by his mind. And because he has a distorted view, and that distorted view will reflect in his behavior, and the wife also perceives it. She sees my husband is behaving differently. And then she also enters into her box, and the relationship spirals downward. The couple, both of them are individually cheating themselves, and they are cheating each other because they are practicing self-deception. They are betraying their own values. And that's how we harm ourselves. That's how we allow our mind to cheat us. We don't realize it, but that's how we fall further and further down. The classic case is, they give the story of the germ theory. In 1820s or 30s, many women, during childbirth, they were dying. This is a very infamous story in Europe. So the doctors are puzzled why these mothers are dying. So they changed bed sheets, they changed medicines, a lot of things they changed, but nothing worked. And when the death stopped, when the doctors the main reason was the doctors were during those days. Now we know doctors have to wash hands, but washing hands during those days, washing hands was not considered important. So the doctors were carrying germs. Now, they changed everything externally, but they did not correct themselves. So the very doctors were responsible for the death. This is a classic story that we change so many countless external factors. Oh, that is responsible. This is that. This is this. So many people are responsible for our misfortune, but ultimately, my mind is carrying the problem. I need to work on myself. We are responsible for many things that happen in our lives. That famous Avanti Brahman story, Avanti Brahman's verse. I don't remember the verse. It says something like, Nayam janoye sukha dukkha heto na devatatma graha karma kala manah param karana mamananti samsara chakre parivartayetya. He's saying these planetary systems are not responsible for my misery. The graha, karma, kala, he says karma is not responsible, time is not responsible. These human beings are not responsible for my misery. Mana para karanam amananti. So we keep blaming everyone else. We have to, I'm not saying everybody is good in this world. Please, now don't go to the other extreme. There are people who abuse, there are people who are bad, and we have to deal with them. That's another subject matter for another day. Today we are talking about how we ourselves can be damaging ourselves. Umr bar galib ye bhool karta raha. I heard this nice line. I'm not supposed to say शायरी निकल गया मुंह से, आधा निकल गया तो पूरा कर देता हूँ. उम्र भर गालिब ये भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पर थी और आईना साफ करता रहा. So we clean the mirror, but actually the dust is here in my face. So we can't change the world, we can't change situations unless we work on ourselves. So therefore, the mind, we have to see our community, online community is called. Thank you for posting that verse 11:23:42. Thank you. So I was saying something very important. See, our community is ABC: awareness, balance, and connection. That awareness is the first step. Awareness means self-awareness, to understand I am not my mind, and to take ourselves separate from our mind. Like, how the mind cheats us. There is a classic case. One Mataji was saying that her relationship with the son strained so much because the son was always partying, going late. Now she never spent time with her son to understand his needs. So the relationship became so intense. This is in US. So he wanted his car, he wanted the car. So mother allowed her son to take the car, and she said, you have to come back before 10 p.m. strictly, otherwise you'll never get the car again. So this is around 5:30 in the evening. So he took the car. So from 5:30, the mother was only cursing, only getting angry with her son. He is reckless, he is nonsense, lot of negative sentiments against her son. And then she was convinced at 9 p.m. that he's going to come late and I'm going to be very angry with him. Lot of anger in her mind. And you know what happened? At 9:45, she was convinced that he's not going to come on time. 9:55, no sign of him, because she had given him a strict deadline. 10 o'clock, he had to be back. And you know what happened? He reached home at what time? 9:59, he was back. And you know what happened to her? Can you guess? She was disappointed. Because she was sad that her son came on time. This is how the mind cheats us. Why she was disappointed? See how the mind has cheated her. Because deep down she wanted him to come late so that her anger would be justified. That's how self-deception is. We exaggerate our good qualities. We minimize we inflate others' bad qualities, and then we justify our behavior, our anger, our cheating. So when the mind cheats us, we want the other person to fail. We want the other person to do bad. So I don't know why I went on to this example, but if this lady had paused to see her son's needs, interests on this, it required a lot of humility for her to share this. But I'm just saying, the point, remember the initial point. Every person has needs, desires, feelings. Now, when we see only my needs and refuse to see others as human beings and see them as objects, then all the problems start. Now, you may say, Prabhuji, to badi baatein hain, you're all selfish by nature. No. All of us have humanity. All of us, all of us have a desire to care. Now, I know this sounds very lofty, utopian. No. Okay. I spoke about how we are all carrying a box. But you know something? This may appear very idealistic, but we all have the capacity to live outside the box. We all want to give. We all want to care. We want to understand others. Now, I'll give an example. I think those who are sports lovers will know this. 2023, we were in Jagannath Puri Yatra. That was Cricket World Cup going on. India, there was Ahmedabad World Cup finals. India was playing. And I remember 2 or 3 of us went to my Guru Maharaj and said, Maharaj, today is World Cup finals. Please bless. Many devotees want you to bless and pray that India will win the World Cup finals. My Guru Maharaj was so grave. He said, why should I pray that India wins the World Cup? So he said, no, then people will be happy. So Maharaj said, if I pray India wins the World Cup and if India wins, will those people who become happy, will they become devotees? We said, no. And Maharaj said, why should I pray? We were laughing and joking. Anyway, we had nothing to do with the World Cup, but I'm just telling you this story because this shows how we have a natural capacity to go out of the box and give love. So what happened? It was a very tragic day for Indian cricket lovers. India lost the World Cup finals. I think many people know this story. And the news, it shocked so much that there are two men, one young man from Orissa and one from Bengal. I've written their stories in my book, my next book, which is coming up on overthinking. These two young men were so devastated by India losing the World Cup that they committed suicide. Okay? For them, they could not take the fact that India lost. Now, look at this. India lost. The whole nation is sad. Fine. During the same time, there were around 40 people who were trapped in a mine in Uttarakhand. I think the same time that was happening. The whole nation was glued to their television sets, news. And in that tunnel, this 45 people were trapped. And there was a very brave rescue team that got involved. And the team was led by an Australian and an Indian. There was an Indian engineer also and an Australian also. And India lost the World Cup finals to Australia. And here was an Australian and an engineer and an Indian engineer and their teams working together. And then they succeeded. These 45 people, everyone was saved. And the whole country rejoiced. Not only the country, even the Australian Prime Minister rejoiced. He sent a congratulatory note. So what happened? The next week, there was a weekly class. I take a weekly class for the youth in Mumbai. So Tuesday class. So in that class, everybody was seated. I asked them, so you are all sad that India lost the World Cup? They said, yes, Prabhuji, India should have won. Okay. And some of them had actually gone to Ahmedabad to watch the match. They came back crying. So I said, okay, you are sad. I said, okay, now what if India had won the World Cup? But God forbid, what if these 40 people were trapped in a tunnel? What if they had not survived? Now they have survived. But in exchange, let's say God said, you'll have to lose the finals, but they will be saved. What would you prefer? I asked this question. I know that's not the right question, but I'm just giving an example here to make a point of we all have humanity. Everyone agreed that they would rather have these 45 people saved than a cricket victory. And even those 3 boys who had gone to watch the match, even they agreed. What I'm trying to say is, see, there is genuine humanity in all of us. That means we all have concern for others deep rooted in our heart. It is natural for us as human beings. See, I'm not saying that this or that. India could have won the World Cup also, and India could have saved them also. Both is possible. But then anyway, nahi hua na wo. I'm just saying the point is empathy, and Bhagavad Gita calls this as Sattva Gun. Sattva Gun is, mode of goodness is when we honor life, when we see others as human beings like ourselves, when we can see others have needs, interests, desires, anxiety. See, we may not be able to help everyone. That's okay. That's another subject matter. We may not be able to take care of everyone. That's okay. But we have to see others also as humans. That is Sattva. So then what happens? Then when you see para dukkha dukhi, para sukha sukhi. Like for example, recently, Indians were very celebrating because India won the match, I think against Pakistan. Something happened and India won and they were shouting. So I asked someone, kya World Cup tha kya? Bola nahi. World Cup nahi tha, Asia Cup tha. Bola Asia Cup mein kaun? Asia mein kaun hai cricket? India के अलावा कोई नहीं है. बोला नहीं बहुत है. नेपाल है और क्या क्या नाम बोला, ओमान. मैं बोला वाह, इनके साथ जीत गया, बड़ा चीज है क्या? Pakistan is not a great team. But then I realized that passion, that joy. But during the same time, 40 people died in a stampede in Chennai. It's in Tamil Nadu somewhere. It was so painful. A devotee feels pain when others are suffering. He feels happy when others are happy. This is mode of goodness. This is empathy. This is where a Vaishnava is supposed to be, this situation. But instead of this, when we seek happiness in a Bollywood movie or a cricket victory, then what happens? Then our happiness comes in which mode? Not goodness, not sattva. It becomes rajas. It becomes passion, where I don't care what happens to others, but I won. We won the match. So what? And for this titillation, for this sense gratification, we are willing to betray many times values. There are people who have sold their kidneys to go and watch World Cup matches. There are people who have sold their land to get an iPhone. I mean, it's crazy what people can do to get titillation, to get sense gratification. This is rajas. Please recognize this. This is very, very important. So we are in Sattva-guna. Our mind is in Sattva-guna when we are happy at others' happiness and when we are looking at others as human beings with their needs and interests. We are in Rajo-guna when we only look for pleasure of the senses. And unfortunately, most of us spend our time in rajas or passion, where we seek happiness through our senses and mind, like a World Cup victory, like that. But you know something? There is also happiness in tamas. What is tamas happiness? When others suffer, we become very happy. You know what happened when India won this match recently against Pakistan? There are many people who jumped into Pakistan news channels. They wanted to enjoy seeing the reaction of Pakistani people. They were not celebrating India winning. They were saying, "मेरे को देखना है Pakistan में कितना people are crying." That their misery was my happiness. When India lost the World Cup finals in 2023, you know, there were videos circulating of celebrations in Bangladesh and Pakistan. The people were they were celebrating in the streets of Karachi, in Dhaka. And if you see those videos, you will think Pakistan has won the World Cup or Bangladesh has won the World Cup. No, why they were celebrating? Not because Australia won. They were celebrating because their neighbor India lost, and they were dancing. And I was seeing the video. I was watching it in WhatsApp. The videos came. I was amused at how much tamasic joy we can experience. My happiness is in others' misery. This is there. This is a reality. So many of us, we seek happiness in mode of passion or mode of ignorance. Mode of goodness, happiness will happen only when we look at others also as human beings. And when we slip into rajas and tamas, we betray our values and we sink into lower pleasures. So this will intensify suffering also. So if you are a rajas and tamas seeker, then if you have a relationship like family, husband, wife, children, parents, you will see that all of those relationships will be strained because we don't consider others as humans like us. So therefore, we need to step out of the box. We need to deal with others with kindness, sensitivity. We have to recognize their struggles, their humanity, their inherent worth. So the mother with 3 children, I need to see them not as an obstacle, but as a person who needs help. I may not be able to help. That's another topic. But so if you are a grahastha, you need to see your partner not as an adversary, not as a competitor, whom you can blame when things go wrong, but as someone who is also navigating life's challenges like you are navigating. When we need to see them the same way as we see ourselves. Then we will not be living in self-deception. Then we will live in truth. We will live in connection. We will live in harmony. Because there is basic humanity that has always been with us. Because that humanity wants to be honored, that wants to be expressed. Sometimes I'll end up expressing love and joy to someone and I make a commitment like, okay, I'll come to your house or this, and then I am not able to honor it. I feel so bad. But at that moment, I really wanted to be there. I really wanted to be with them. And I was not lying. I was not, but then, yeah, so sometimes you get carried away. That's another subject matter again. The point I'm saying is we have a choice. Do we want to remain in the box and justify our coldness, our insensitivity, or do we want to step out of the box and have human connection? Then we will see that we'll be able to prevent the mind from cheating us. See, the mind plays 2 roles at the same time, okay? the mind becomes a prosecutor also and a defense lawyer also. So when we betray our values, like for example, this Prabhuji was ignoring his baby, the crying baby. So then the mind immediately becomes a defense lawyer. Oh, I deserve rest. I'm hardworking. I work so hard in the office. I was right. I'm right to be upset. I'm upset with my wife. I'm right. So that is defense lawyer. Then the mind also becomes a prosecutor. Oh, she's selfish. She's whole day at home. She can't do this. She's inconsiderate. She's insensitive. So like this, the double standard of the mind, this is self-deception. Mind convinces us that our actions are reasonable while magnifying the blame of others. So like this, we remain trapped in the box. And the Bhagavad Gita 6.6 is a beautiful verse. I request everyone to remember this verse, at least the translation, which says that for one who has conquered the mind is the best of friend. Bandhuratmatmanastasya enatme vatmanajita anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmeva shatruvat. And one who has failed to do so, the mind becomes the biggest enemy. So the self-deception means the mind is our enemy because it makes us feel justified in our wrongs. It whispers lies, to protect our ego. But in reality, we are being cheated. And I was thinking maybe we should stop here and then take questions. Or I have a lot of things to share, a lot of examples, a lot of verses, but I was thinking maybe we could stop here. Shivam Prabhu, is that okay? Surabhi, whatever you say.
Yes, Prabhu, you can also share if you have more examples, you can share.
Okay. Or if people have questions, I could take questions and then continue.
Okay. Yeah, Prabhuji, whatever, it's fine. Like, however you want to take it forward.
Okay. So, we'll take questions a little later. I'll just share some of the things that we could do as a solution part. Let's say we see the problem of the mind cheating us. Now, what do we do? So, how do we go forward now? Okay. So, to go forward, a few things we can try. First, take responsibility, which means let's stop blaming. I'm not saying others are not responsible. I'm saying let us stop blaming others first. Because blaming others gives us temporary relief, but it actually causes permanent damage. Because there is this uncomfortable work of self-correction, reflection. And relationships cannot improve unless we are willing to take feedback. So, before we justify our actions, can we just once consider, maybe my mind is cheating me? At least just ask once. So if we check our thinking first, if we practice awareness, which is the first item in our ABC community, then maybe we can reclaim the power that we are losing. Now you may say, Acha Prabhuji, if I am responsible, then I'll become guilty. Please no. For most important solution in stopping the mind from cheating us is to take responsibility for our life, and that responsibility will not lead to guilt, because the responsibility for our inner life is different from guilt, because guilt will paralyze us. See, the proof that you are feeling guilty is you feel paralyzed, but when you take responsibility, it's empowering, because then you are looking at other people as human beings, not as objects. You are checking your mind's story and you are separating yourself from the mind before reacting. That's responsibility. That is empowering. That will not bring guilt. And also you are choosing to align your actions with some deeper values. So that's also amazing, because we are generally impulsive. So the first and most important solution for preventing the mind from cheating us is to take responsibility for our lives and to consider the possibility that my mind could be cheating me. And then, just like there's narrative, after this India-Pakistan 4-day war, if you go to Pakistan, there's a whole different narrative. So there's a narrative war. So mind also has a narrative. So what I'm saying is, let us challenge the mind's narrative. When the mind says, oh, she's selfish. So when the mind says that, separate yourself from your mind and ask a simple question. Is that absolutely true that she's selfish? Or is it my heart speaking? This one question will puncture the balloon that you're building up inside. Like when the mind says, I deserve better, I'm not getting good deal. from my family member, whoever it is, immediately ask, well, am I being the best right now? No. When we ask these questions, it's a little disturbing. When the mind says, he will never change, no point telling him, ask, am I willing to change first? Can we ask these difficult questions to ourselves? See, this is humility. Humility is not simply chanting Pranadapi Suni Chena. Humility is not some fruit which is lying on the tree that I pick it up and eat and I become humble. Hari Bol, I'm the most humble devotee, Prabhuji. No, humility is tough actually, because humility is the only way we can dismantle the mind's tricks. Instead of being led by distorted thinking, we have to lead the mind with higher values. I know it's not an overnight thing, and I'm struggling. I told you my own stories, so it's difficult. But the fact that we are sharing here means we can work on it. And if you see, I think the best example we have is Arjuna. Our book is Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna, very clear. Krishna makes it very clear that the battlefield is not outside; the battlefield is within. Arjuna's greatest struggle. Arjuna had already defeated the Kauravas before during the Virata exile. So Arjuna's challenge was not with the Kauravas. It was his own mind's narrative. What was the narrative of the mind? Despair, fear, false compassion, all of these things. Mind was cheating him. So our enemy is not the difficult spouse or the authority in the temple or the slow traveler who is ahead of me in the airport or the strict mother or the cricket team that loses. No, the real enemy is the mind that misinterprets events and it justifies my selfish behavior. It blinds me to other people's humanity. This is the actual enemy. So therefore, what is the real victory then? Real victory is not proving others right. No, sorry. The real victory is not proving that others are wrong and I am right. The real victory is correcting my own thinking. I know this is, I'm speaking quite a mouthful today, but I was just speaking, basically my point is self-awareness. Can we practice self-awareness? Can we spend some time considering the fact that I need correction? Because vigilance, when I say self-awareness, it means vigilance. It means being alert and honest. So whenever we justify, like there's an urge to explain, I'm right, someone else is wrong. Can we pause? And because when we are justifying, the mind is entering the box. Can I? You see, I don't want to give you many more examples, but in the ashram it happens. We are 70, 80 of us. Somebody switches on the light and goes away. Small things. It happens in family also. You want to snap at someone. Somebody is speaking too much. Somebody is creating noise. So many things happen. Instead of addressing the issue, we start mentally judging people by their behavior. So can we avoid creating stories? We create stories in the mind instead of taking responsibility. So, I don't know if you have experienced this. Sometimes it's so dangerous, the mind's controlling us, that we secretly hope sometimes that others will fail, others will have problems, others will behave badly. We actually hope sometimes because we want our negative view of them to be justified, to be validated. This is the mind cheating us. There are occasions when the mind can make you feel like that. So I know these are very strong, but can we spend some time examining how we are exaggerating our virtues and seeing others wrong? So the entire theme, I'll repeat again and again. It's all about self-awareness, to examine our own. To take responsibility for our own thinking, to examine our mistakes. What happens when we do this? Something interesting happens. I'll share this with you. Miracles happen. We in ISKCON we look for miracles. I'll tell you the real miracle. I remember telling the story of that how Hanumanji came to our temple and how Krishna gave me prasad for me on Ekadashi when I was suffering. These are all miracles we love. We love miracle stories in ISKCON. And so many miracle stories are there. Like last year when I was in Vrindavan, a miracle story happened. Somebody came in a bike and helped me when I was having a fracture and all that. And this year also something miraculous happened. And I know you'll also be excited to hear that, but I'm not going to share that. A lot of miracles happen in ISKCON. But what is the real miracle? These are not real miracles. The real miracle is when we stop becoming victim of our circumstances. Many of us play the victim card. In fact, we play the victim card always. The day we stop playing victim card, that means a miracle has happened in your Krishna consciousness. And okay, and the greater miracle is, okay, what I mean by not playing victim card is, see, there is two things. A victim of my circumstance. Are you a victim of your circumstance, or are you a creator of your experience? See, our experiences are created by us, by the way we think, by the way we choose our thoughts. So we create our experiences. So when we create our experiences and we don't play the victim card, we are experiencing miracle in Krishna consciousness. Do you want to experience these miracles? This is what we need to do. Unfortunately, we are waiting for others to change. We are waiting for systems to get better. Well, no, it will not happen. We have to stop blaming and start understanding, start working on ourselves. Again, I'll repeat, this doesn't mean others never do anything wrong, or I'm not saying you should tolerate abuse. It just means recognize your response. You have a response to make. Ability to take a response is called responsibility. Actually, that's how the word has come. When we control my thinking, my perception, my thoughts, my action, it's in my control. And that control is where true power is. And that's when life becomes miraculous. And that's when we can step out of the box. Then we'll be able to treat others as human beings. Kindness. We'll be able to recognize their struggles, that humanity, so like that. So these are some of the things I wanted to share today. Hare Krishna. I want to stop here, and I have 10-15 minutes we have for discussion. If you want to share some comments or questions, we can have some discussions now.
Last one by one. So yes, so Mahasundari Mataji, you can ask the question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Pranam. Thank you. Prabhuji, I have a question and something to share. When you talked about a father and son story, so just yesterday, my eldest son, he generally keeps Ekadashi fast. He takes no grains, but yesterday he said that, Mama, I don't want to keep Ekadashi. I don't want to have non-grain prasad, and give me something which is grains. So my mind there, one side, it said that, no, it's not good. I didn't tell him, but it was like, no, he will break Ekadashi and all that stuff. But finally, I gave up, and I didn't argue with him, but mentally. And finally, I gave him paratha, which he wanted. So since yesterday, this thing was coming in my mind. Did I do right, wrong? So that was my question also. That
I also don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Right, wrong, I cannot see. There is two things. What should and what is. This is not a forum for us to discuss whether we are conforming to ISKCON standards. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur saw that his brahmachari disciples in the mutt were sleeping on Ekadashi, and they were not. See, Ekadashi means you are supposed to do bhajan. Why we don't eat grains? So that we do more bhajan.
Do more,
bhajan, right?
More chanting.
So Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur saw that his one brahmachari, 2-3 brahmacharis were sleeping and they were not doing seva. So he said, Ekadashi means you should do more bhajan, more seva, and if you are sleeping and because you are feeling weak, then he said you eat grains and do bhajan and seva.
Right.
So we get attached to the rituals and externals so much that now you say, Acha, Prabhuji is endorsing that we should not follow Ekadashi. Arey Baba, aisa nahi bol raha hu main. See, life is a compromise, okay? Now, I'm not saying we should compromise all the time. I'm not saying compromise is the foundation of life. No, Grihastha Ashram, ISKCON, Krishna Consciousness, 21st century, year 2025. Dedication, commitment is the foundation of our bhakti, but that commitment takes many forms, and one of the forms it takes is compromise. And how it becomes a compromise in your life is different from the way it becomes a compromise in my life.
Okay.
So you take a call on that, and your child, I don't know. the dynamics in your house. You need to consult your husband, and you need to take it forward. Because the child needs to learn. Child needs discipline. All of that is part of the child's growth, right? So I can't give comment on one off example, but overall you have a strategy, you have a vision in place for raising your children, and align your activities to that. But know that compromise will happen, and compromise. And also Ekadashi, I'm not sure, I never followed Ekadashi as a child, but I used to see my parents follow. Because children can't be educated by instruction as much as children learn. See, you should not be worried if children don't listen to you. You should be worried that children are observing you. Children observe everything. So at the right time, I started following Ekadashi. Nobody told me, my parents would do their bhajan sincerely whole life, and I was going for partying, playing, time pass. But sahi time pe, gaadi train track pe aa gaya.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Prabhuji. I know it was an awkward question, but
No, it's a good question.
Sorry.
It's an important question.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Shivam, Prabhu, back to you.
Hare Krishna. So yes, Gopal Mataji, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. I was just thinking that sometimes we are trying to introspect, and there has to be a fine line between introspecting and overthinking, so that we are not paralyzing ourselves by doubting all our decisions.
Yeah.
So how can we strike that balance? And just a small follow-up question to that is that how can we find that difference between the genuine need of the mind, of ourselves, and the mind's excuse to not to do that? So I don't know if
There are
Can
two
we
parts
connect?
here. There are two parts
Yes.
here. Let's go one by one.
Mhm.
Okay. First point is about introspection not becoming overthinking. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who have self-awareness because of introspection, and there are those who think they are self-aware. These two are different things. Thinking that I'm self-aware is different from actually being self-aware. So what does that mean? So when we ask the wrong kind of questions in introspection, then we are not self-aware. Like for example, during introspection, if you keep asking why, it is disastrous. Oh, why my life is so bad? Oh, why I'm not able to make my family members happy? Oh, why I'm failing in my relationships? Why my job is so bad? Why my boss is so bad? Why question can be dangerous during introspection. So you need to ask what. What can I do now to improve my relationship with my boss? What can I do now to make myself strong? So sometimes you should ask what, sometimes you should ask why, sometimes you should ask how. We sometimes over ask how, and our why is not strong. And sometimes we get into the other extreme, we keep asking why. And then, so that time we should ask, what can I do now? So what, why, and how. Now if you ask me, Prabhuji, how to know when to ask what, why, and how, I don't know. That I don't know. But yeah, introspection is not easy. So what we do now, how we do introspection, I'll tell you. Introspection has to be done. Introspection means basically we are living in the world of mind intelligence only. Because introspection is also activity of the mind and intelligence only. And the mind is cheating us. So when we do introspection, we are taking shelter of the same tool which is going to harm us. So therefore, introspection should always be preceded or followed with higher intelligence, which is scriptures, which is Shravanam, which is hearing from sincere devotees or sincere spiritualists or wise people. So when we hear from learned people, wise people, and we connect with scriptures, then we are connecting to higher intelligence. And that intelligence directs our introspection. That intelligence is there in the periphery. Then our introspection will not be self-sabotaging. Otherwise, Hitler did a lot of introspection. If you read Mein Kampf, his book is all about introspection. But the introspection caused the greatest disaster of the 20th century. So you are right. I'm glad you raised this point. Many of us, we do introspection and land up in depression because we don't understand that it's a trick of the mind. Therefore, we need higher intelligence. That's why we encourage philosophical speculation. We hear scriptures. See, without hearing scriptures, if we do introspection, that is simply speculation. But if we only hear scriptures and don't do introspection, that is ritual or entertainment. So there are people who only hear scriptures but don't do introspection. They are simply doing a ritual bhakti, or they are simply doing getting entertained. And there are people who do a lot of introspection but they don't connect with higher intelligence. They are close to hearing from others. That is simply speculation, and that is what Hitler did. So either we become a ritualistic devotee or we become very violent. So therefore we need a balance. So that's the answer to your first question. That introspection is never an isolated activity. We are social beings. We need to have a healthy, balanced life where we have connection with devotees. We have, practices of sadhana, all of that, and then introspection. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, and there's another thing you raised.
Yeah. So the other question was that how can we tell that there's a difference between the genuine
mind.
need and the mind?
Yeah, the genuine need of the heart and the mind. See, you ask yourself, are you going forward? Are you evolving, or are you getting stuck? Like, I'll tell you, I was hearing Srila Prabhupada's class, amazing class. Devotees say, Prabhupada says, so we should not keep our needs more. And he quotes the Ishopanishad verse. Just take minimal, whatever you need. He gives the example of that bird, dog, they take only what they need. Human beings take the whole bag of rice if it is left in the street. So then, when we hear all these kind of stories from Prabhupada, we think, oh, but how do I know how much I need? That's what your question is. What is my mind and what is my heart, right? So Prabhupada says, no, that doesn't mean you should live minimally. Some of you are ant, some of you are elephant. Elephant needs more than an ant. So if you're an elephant, work more, earn more, spend more. That is your psychophysical need. If you're an ant, be happy with little. Now you may say, but Prabhuji, how do I know whether I'm an elephant or I'm an ant? That also I don't know. Right? That also we don't know. So then Prabhupada gives a master stroke. He says, ask yourself whether you are going forward or you are getting stuck. Means, by certain actions, is your consciousness evolving? Are you coming closer to the Lord? Are you experiencing emotions for the Lord? Are you feeling loved in spiritual practices? Or are you feeling more disturbed, more agitated, more rajoguna, more pain? Then that means there is something wrong happening. So when you're desiring something and that desire is helping you connect with the Lord better, then that's healthy. Go for it. That's your psychophysical nature asking. Because I know a friend who is 52 today and he's starting his own new business. And he was telling me, Prabhuji, I'm so fallen. I'm such a fallen grahastha. I said, wait. Don't harm yourself. Don't beat yourself. That's your psychophysical nature to earn more. So you do it, because if you deprive yourself of what you are meant for, you get more frustrated. Ask yourself, is your devotional service improving? He said yes. He comes to temple every Thursday. He does deity worship. So his consciousness is good. He's evolving. He's connected to his family better. But he has his varna. He has his nature. So therefore you can't squelch it. You can't squelch your desire. So therefore. You need to do this. You need to ask whether you are getting stuck or you are going forward. Few questions you can ask yourself. What do I like to do? I like to sing, I like to sing a lot. But the second question when I ask, I become quiet. First question is what I like to do. Second, what I'm good at. You should be good at that also. Third, now because you're a grahastha, will it help me be stable financially, emotionally, etc. Like somebody likes, when choosing career or profession, these 4 questions help a lot. First, what I am good at, what I like to do. Our career, our decision should be an intersection of these 4 circles. What I like to do, what I am good at, what will give me some stability, or ultimately you need money also. I mean, if you are a grahastha, you need to have some stability. So 3 things should be there. And the 4th is, will this help me serve? Will this help me add value to others' lives? So when you get an intersection of these 4 circles, that is your career, that is your life, that is your future, that is your decisions. So sometimes, you may like to make garlands for the deities, and you may be good at it. Do it. And it also is giving you stability emotionally. You are feeling connected to Krishna. Do it. And 4th, it's also helping at the temple. It's also a service to the community. So like that. So when you see these 4 things, then you will not be so confused.
Thank you so much. That genuinely answered my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. So yes, Surmi Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. My question is that I attended a long time back a lecture by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and he was saying that even in our community, we see that, there are people who are a little liberal and there are people who are a little conservative. My question is, how do you personally in your life kind of understand that where is the balance, where you're not liberal to a point where you're diluting too much and not so conservative that there is no scope for adjustment and coming to people's, where they are, meeting them where they are. So how do you find out that sweet spot?
Okay, thank you, Surbi. A very intelligent question. Honestly, what I do is, okay, I'll tell you I'll be very blunt now. I'm getting inspired by Anand now. Okay. I come from a space where I trust you. If I'm preaching to you, let's say you come from a class. See, when I'm looking at human beings, when I look at other people, my first assumption is I trust him, I trust her. I trust your relationship with Krishna. That's it. So now, you may make mistakes. So I don't mind giving something little less than pure devotional service. Not on the Vyasasana. When I'm giving class, Bhagavatam, this is not Bhagavatam class. This is not a temple class. This is a forum where I have created, online forum, ABC, where you are coming to hear my heart. So I'm not compelled to speak. I have a mandate to speak what I want. I'm not confined to somebody else's mandate. Okay. So in ABC class is different. But every other session where I'm representing ISKCON, there I speak pure devotional service. But of the Vyasasana, I see you as a human being who has 4 needs: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So whatever best helps you to take care and balance this, that's how I see it. So for that, if I have to tell you to reduce your rounds, I do that. So that's not deviation, because I do 2 things. One is, I hear Prabhupada's classes every day, so I have confidence that I'm not deviating. Every day, and not only I hear Prabhupada's class, I write journal on it. And second, I am open for feedback. I want to hear from you if I am doing something wrong, and then I do course correction. Like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu gives me feedback. Recently gave me feedback on one of my articles, and we are having an exchange. So the point is, as long as you are taking feedback from others, and as long as you are connected to the parampara, then even if you are appearing to be a little compromising, I feel you are not diluting Prabhupada's teachings. Because Prabhupada wanted us to genuinely help people. See, for me, you are more important than what you can do for me or for ISKCON. Because I know that in the long run, you will give your life to ISKCON if you feel loved. My biggest inspiration for this is His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj. He is one of the best devotees in ISKCON, senior devotee, Prabhupada disciple, last 55 years. He is a guru, sannyasi, GBC. And he says he survived in his initial years as a devotee because he got unconditional love. He says his temple president always sent him this message subconsciously that you are more important for me than what you can do for me in my temple. So that subconscious message made him a prisoner, captured his heart, and helped him surrender to Prabhupada. So in our social dealings, when we meet devotees, if we immediately look at them as an object, okay, you should help me expand ISKCON. Ours is a missionary movement, but Prabhupada writes in many places, ISKCON has been established so that you can come closer to Krishna. I don't want you to come closer to Krishna so that you help me in my project. I am doing this project so that you come closer to Krishna. So as long as that desire I have, and secondly, if I'm hearing Prabhupada's classes every day, and third, if I'm open to feedback, if these three things are in place, then even if it appears to be diluting, even if it appears to be too liberal, and even if it appears to be compromise, I am not affected by it because I know that I am sincere. The trouble with many of us is what, unfortunately, this feedback is the most difficult. Many of us don't like feedback. The moment somebody gives us a feedback, we immediately think he's become proud. The trouble with many of us is we would rather be ruined by praise than be saved by criticism. We don't want to be saved by somebody criticizing us. We want to be ruined by their praising us. So be open to getting, so I'm open. My temple president pulls my ears. Radha Gopinath Prabhu, Shamanand Prabhu, I just even go in Prabhu. So, but that doesn't mean I agree with everything they say. The idea is, it's your body language, it's your attitude, it's your mood. So if you have people who can correct you and who love you unconditionally, I am hearing this, there is this verse in the 16th chapter, it's about demoniac nature, Krishna speaks. When I read those verses of demoniac, initially when I used to read those verses, divine qualities and demoniac qualities, I used to think I have the divine qualities and demoniac qualities are about karmis. But when I was doing sincere, honest introspection, I realized those demoniac qualities are applying to me. Like there is one verse where Krishna says, I think 16.19, Krishna says that Tanaham Dvishata Kruran Samsareshu Naradama Kshipami Ajasram Ashubhan Asureshve Yonishu. Krishna says that those who are envious and mischievous, I put them in demoniac species of life. So I realized when somebody criticizes me, I'm envious. We become envious of those who criticize us. And we become mischievous when we start justifying our wrong action, wrong thought. So when the mind is cheating us by justifying and being envious of those who criticize us, we are exactly in the same category which Krishna is speaking. He is speaking about demoniac people. I may be wearing a devotee dress, but I may be what Krishna is warning against. So I think it's better to be a little compromising and appear to be a little liberal if you are helping the person. This is very important. See, just what is the other extreme? What is the example I gave? Remember that example I gave of the devotee dying and how I thought I'm right? You know what? This is not self-deception. Huh? I'm sorry to use a very strong word. It is sometimes more sinister. In our devotee community, it can be gaslighting and abuse. It's a serious deviation from Prabhupada's mood and mission. See, what is self-deception? I fool myself. In the name of being strict and preserving Prabhupada's mission, if I project that, see, I'm deceiving myself, that's okay. But when I say, you are in Maya, you are stupid girl, this proves I am right, you are wrong, then it becomes gaslighting. Because I'm making you doubt your own experience. We as devotees have done this mistake. We make others doubt their spiritual experience while justifying our position. My position is great. And your experience, that's not Krishna conscious. This is not naive. This is not self-deception. This is manipulative. This is abusive. So I'm not judging anyone. I'm saying I'm admitting that I've done this. I've been guilty of this. Okay. So but when we systematically deny, so what do you want? I don't want to be so conservative and honoring Prabhupada. I trust my relationship with Prabhupada. I don't mind being little liberal. And I have told some devotees to, like one devotee, I encouraged him to play football. I encouraged one devotee to play basketball and he went on to become, like we have IPL, in their European country, they have IPL type of thing for basketball and he went on to win that championship and he has a Kantimala and he made many people devotees. So I'm just saying sometimes we Prabhupada, we wrongly cherry pick Prabhupada's comments. So I feel sometimes it's better to be liberal if you are doing these three things. I'll repeat. What are those three things? First, if you are taking feedback constantly, Secondly, you are hearing Prabhupada or your Guru Maharaj. And thirdly, you genuinely want to give.
Yes, and trusting
Trusting
your
the person. Trusting the
yeah.
person. So and you know, we have become what? We have become less of spiritual seekers and we have become miracle seekers in ISKCON. We believe that, okay, I'll just simply do ritual, bhakti, and Prabhupada will take care, Krishna will take care, as if Krishna is going to clean my poop, Krishna is my servant. No, we have to be careful in our human dealings, you know. Like Shamanand Prabhu, my temple president, tells a very beautiful statement. He says, we compensate for our lack of realization with fervent fanaticism. I'll repeat the sentence. We compensate for our lack of realization with fervent fanaticism. So we have to be careful. So it's okay to make mistakes, be honest. I'm willing to be corrected, but if I'm arrogant, if I become unteachable, that is more dangerous. So I have seen that if I'm conservative, I want to hold Prabhupada's mission strict, and then I'm unteachable, then it's better to be more liberal. Because that's the way. See, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone but myself. Is that okay, Surbhi?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank
Just
you.
last one thing in connection to this. You said that you trust your the other person's relationship with Krishna. To my mind, it came that you can only trust other person's relationship with Krishna when you trust your own relationship, because you mentioned that even when you receive feedback, you have your own internal belief about something and you go ahead with it if you feel convinced about it. So is that the right understanding, that conviction comes from your own personal relationship with Krishna, that okay, I also have my internal
Yeah, basically, we need to be honest. As long as we're taking feedback from others and we're willing to consider it, we need to trust our relationship because it's okay, you make mistakes, yeah. It's okay, we make mistakes, but we need to trust. Unless we trust our relationship with Krishna, we will always be in doubt, fear, anxiety. We need to trust that I love Krishna. I mean, not that I love like the pure devotees. Of course, I have my anarthas, but I mean, yeah, I don't know how to put it. It's ineffable for me. Maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll communicate later. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
I can take one last question. Is that okay? I see Shivam Prabhu, Anushka hand is up. So can I take that question and then end? I have to rush for something.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for saying that you could take my question. I was really waiting for it. So you were just talking about you allowed people playing football and basketball. I am just coming out of a football match and I joined the class and I was listening to it. So Prabhuji, you were talking about gaslighting in temple. So
I'm
ऐसा नहीं
sorry.
मतलब
That was not my intention, but yeah.
No, I know, Prabhuji. The thing is, I wouldn't have said anything around it, but when it came out, so I had something which couple of people I also deal with, they have to go through. So they're generally all the temple people are very amazing and what they do is so amazing, but sometimes we go through people or seniors or situations where it is actually very gaslighting and we cannot avoid those situations. So at that time, just so ki we do not get Vaishnav Aprad in our minds and we deal with it, what should we be doing at those times?
Oh, I'm glad you asked this question. So I want to assure all of you here who have come for this class, if you go through something like this, then we have forums. Every temple has to mandatorily have an ombudsperson. You can approach ombuds. There is POSH. Every temple has POSH, CPO, and ombuds. POSH is prevention of sexual harassment. CPO is child protection office. And we also have ombuds. Ombuds is a person who mediates between you and the management and your concerns. If you don't have these three in place, you can demand, you can ask for it, you can approach. There are higher ups in the temple. Higher than the temple president would be the executive body. Higher than that would be the local regional representative of the governing body commission. There would be a GBC. There would be a GBC representative for that center, for that temple. You need to approach them. At the same time, this has to be done with a lot of humility and sincerity, because we want to serve Prabhupada's mission. Because we have been blessed with the best gift, holy name, association of devotees. We are so fortunate. You know, So I think we need to be grateful. We want to do this in a mood of gratitude. So if you do that, see, our ISKCON has given the world prasadam, ISKCON has given the world chanting, ISKCON has given Prabhupada's books. These are priceless treasures. And because of that, our culture should reflect the same compassion and humanity of Srila Prabhupada. So we don't want to be bitter. When you're complaining, when you're approaching, you should not be bitter. You should be protective about Prabhupada, protective about Prabhupada's mission. So, but we had problems. We had some immaturity happening because we also make mistakes. We overstep. So that time, you have to approach the GBC. Does that make sense? I can't hear you. I don't know if that answers your question. Hare Krishna, Shivam Prabhu. Have you lost her? Yeah, she's there. Can you unmute and
Yes, sorry, Prabhuji, I was not able to unmute immediately. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the answer. At the same time, I really wanted to ask, what should I be doing internally so it doesn't affect me inside?
Internally, when you see somebody senior making glaring mistakes, please learn to be compassionate to them. Even seniors require compassion. Learn to forgive them. Externally address, but internally forgive. Forgiveness will help you move forward, and justice will help you heal your past. When you see somebody doing something wrong to you, then you should seek justice, because that justice will help you cure your past wounds. But you need to forgive them and deal with them with compassion so that you can go, future can be smooth.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay?
Prabhuji, there was, I think, one question I just saw it was there in the chat. So
Okay. Yeah,
it's a smaller one if you want to
yeah.
pick it up.
Yeah, take it up now and then we'll end after that. Yeah.
Yes, sure. If I just share my concern, this is from Karthik Mishra Prabhu from Pune. Just share my concern with, if I share my concerns with Krishna instead of trying to correct someone, will that alone bring the right change in them? This is part one. Part two is, and if I stay silent, then I am being patient or suppressing my authenticity. So if I'm silent, am I suppressing myself and Krishna will correct the other person?
See, if it is affecting your service, if it is affecting your relationship with Krishna in your family, then you need to address it. You have two choices. Externally address it or internally resolve it. Whatever helps you connect with the Lord better. Ena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshya. If you can do neither, then you are only inviting suffering. We can't assume that, Krishna will take care of everything. I just will improve my relationship with Krishna. No. If you have a relationship, address it, because you have a service to Prabhupada's mission. If you are seeing something wrong happen, you need to express it to somebody who can make a difference. If you discuss that problem with somebody else who is your equal and who is not part of the solution, then you are doing politics. But if you express if you have any doubt, but if you express it to the right person, it is not politics, it is not backbiting, it is not criticism. The main thing is, whom are you approaching with your problem? That is the main thing. The point is not whether it's correct or wrong to express our doubts. It's perfectly valid. In a family, if we don't share our heart, then it's not a family. So ISKCON is a family. So we are a family. You need to express your pain, your heart, your doubts but the right person. If you don't do it to the right person, then it can become disastrous. And then after expressing it, then you have to be detached also. In the sense, you need to know at a certain point of time. See, you can't have formulas. It's not a magic pill that you take and you figure out everything. You have to learn by trial and error. In life, we get answers not by some quick fix. You know how much you can go ahead, how much you can address the issue. And at some point of time, you know that, okay, I can't do this more than this because my consciousness is getting affected, my chanting is getting affected. I think I'll stop. So then you need to stop. So you need to know how much you can fight, how much you can address. Hare Krishna. We don't want you to become a martyr. We don't want you to become Shahid Bhagat Singh. We want you to live for Krishna. We don't want you to die for Krishna. I don't want your Krishna consciousness to be destroyed because of your trying to protect Prabhupada's mission. Is that okay, Prabhu? Shivam Prabhu, I'll stop here. Shivam Prabhu?
Thank you so much. Yes, Prabhuji. We can conclude here.
Yeah, we can offer prayers to all Vaishnavas. Please forgive me if I said I used a very strong word. It was not my intention, but words once spoken cannot be taken back. They are like a glass which once broken cannot be joined. So I have broken a glass. But my intention was to help us understand that we all make these mistakes. So let us pray to each other for help. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.